Hi guys, I'm in a very, very special mood today. Very special mood for a few reasons, which not all of them I'll share, but I feel I'm celebrating, and it's actually because the former reason is that my birthday is in a few days, but it's not this. I think I'm celebrating what it means really to love myself, which is my role here. I'm a 10th gate personality. So this video about the 10th gate in this very, very special timing in my life, and this very special timing in my experiment, and being 3 and something years after my Chiron. Yeah, I think it's 3.5 years, something like this. So all of this together is really, it's a feeling of bliss. It's a feeling of real success, and not the homogenized interpretation of the word success, but really what my design needs to feel in order to know that I'm on the right track, and I am on the right track. So I don't know if some of you or all of you have any part in this, even if I'm conscious about it or not, then I thank you for being part of my journey. And we are going to talk about love today, so it's such a beautiful start for me for the day. I'm doing this in the morning. So let's see what we are talking about: self-love and love being in the world. So the vessel of love is approaching in a few hours, and the 10th gate is in the sun, and the 15th gate is in the earth. And of course, we see that we have the channel of the perfected form, so the 10th gate and the 15th, and now also the 13th that Venus just entered will be very strongly felt. And of course, we have the other global conditioning pattern of the channel of community. Just a few days, and we are going to say goodbye to this. Okay, so let's start our journey with the gate of the behavior of the self. Gate 10, treading the underlying code of behavior which ensures successful interaction despite circumstances. Now, in this stage of my life, being this outer authority that I am, I can share with you that this is really this thing about this 10th gate is really the gate of the behavior of the self. It's all about behavior, and it's about learning one's behavior in order to perfect the form, in order to follow one's convictions, and in order to maintain the commitment to higher principles and be awakened. Yes, these are the 3 ways that this 10th gate is walking in this life. Yes, it looks towards the gate of the now, it looks towards the gate of penetrating awareness, and it looks at the gate of the might, the gate of power in the sacral. So it's a very special gate that it is opened to these 3 channels, one of the integration gates, and that means that it is very, very self-absorbed and very selfish in a way. It is selfish, and Ra says about this gate, this is the most self-absorbed and the most complicated gate in the whole body graph. And I just, I tend to understand that in time, also studying this gate, but especially living this gate with awareness, because what I've noticed lately, I think in the last year, there's been such a shift for me. And what I realize is that all the things that I know mentally with this knowledge, and I know a lot, I'm studying all the time, but the things that I know mentally, and I really resonated. I resonate to almost everything, and it's good to know. But the moment that I experience this, and it's the knowledge gets into my DNA. It's so different. And now I can, when I'm looking at this title, The Gate of the Behavior of the Self, I just know that it's all about behavior. And this is the gate of self-love. And of course, we know that everything in human design is dualistic. And most of the people who carry this gate, they don't love themselves. And, you know, this gate, this part of the vessel of love, and we talked about the vessel. So today I'm not going to get into the vessel. I want to stay in this gate and to understand the two very challenging lessons that this gate brings to those who carry it. And of course, now we are going to feel it in the sun, and it's part, of course, of the quarter of mutation. So it's all about mutation and transformation. So self-love is actually the last of the gates of the vessel. If we go, you know, the first one is universal love, that belongs to the quarter of initiation, and then we have the love of humanity, the 15th gate, and then we have the love of the body, which has to do something with the other. Even though it's not a mundane love gate, it's a transcendent love gate, but it displays itself through the other. And then we come to the last quarter, the quarter of mutation, and we go in, because, okay, so we initiated the mind, and we were in the form, and we bonded, but then, you know, the last quarter is about accepting death, and we can't begin this death cycle if we are not correctly. Yes, we can't begin this death cycle correctly if we are not in total acceptance and self-love. And this is the most difficult one. This is the most difficult gate, because it has two ways of love. The other vessel gates, they are all the time, they are only transcendent love. It's not about the other, it's not about connectivity, it's a journey that the personality and the body do here, and it's not personal, totally. But the 10th gate has two ways. It's also a transcendent love gate, and this is about loving being in the world, which is the first challenge, because, you know, I'm carrying this gate of oppression in the 6th line, you know, futility. And before human design, I shared this a lot. Before human design, I really didn't like this world. I still don't like it, but now it's different. I look at it and I know that this is the world I'm supposed to live in, and I am loving being in this world. It's my life. I'm this projector. I have this strategy. I have my inner authority. I have my trajectory. And even though the world is not a beautiful place to live in all the time, but my journey there, I love it. I love being in the world. And this is not something that I experienced all my life. And I've been through a lot of phases that the oppression was everywhere. And before living myself correctly, I couldn't love being in the world, because one can love being in the world only when one follows their own convictions and being committed to higher principles in the now, and perfects their form all the time. So if we are not in this situation, we can't live being in the world. We can't love being in the world if we don't follow our strategy and authority. It just doesn't work, because the homogenized world, when it gets into us, it takes us to places and directions and people which are not correct for us, and this is not a good experience, especially not for a hermit like me. And then the other part of love, the other kind of love that gate 10 has, is what we call, it's also one of the mundane love gates. And as a mundane love gate, this is self-love. So it's not about loving somebody else. It's about falling in love with yourself in the mundane life. And then the combination is loving yourself being in the world, which is really, really amazing to feel. So the catch here, and this is something that I really, I was listening to Ra saying this many times, but I'm telling you, the last few months, which I'm doing a lot of work on the Vessel of Love and the G Center, I just realized it. He says that, Ra says that the not self 10th gate can't really fall in love with themselves. What happened is that they are searching and looking for somebody else to love them in order to validate the possibility to love themselves. They can't love themselves unless somebody else loves them. And I had this situation so many times in my life that I really thought I needed this reflection. I couldn't really surrender to loving myself. I couldn't love myself because I was so conditioned, and I did things in a such wrong way for me. Many things, not everything, but many things, especially what had to do with relationships, that I hurt myself so much through this not self behavior. You see, behavior. Then that there was no way I could love myself. So I searched outside for the mirror that would tell me how amazing I am. And I was addicted to these mirrors, with my open spleen and my open sacral. And it was an ongoing story. It didn't matter what mirror there, but I needed the mirror. So I was looking for the mirror all the time and used to keep myself one mirror there, even though my inner feeling was that this is not correct. I knew something is not correct, but I didn't know what will help me. I didn't know what would bring this feeling of self-love. And since the experiment, it's unbelievable. I mean, I'm most of the time on my own, and my self-love just grows, the hermit. And the beauty is to see that when this self-love is really authentic, it's there, it's a frequency, it's even not personal. It's not that I'm looking at myself and saying, oh, you're amazing. No, it's a frequency. And it's, of course, it's amazing to see how everything is connected, because this self-love affects my behavior towards myself and affects the way I accept or not other people's behavior towards me. The more I respect myself, the more the behavior of others that is not correct just will not enter these barriers I have. And it's so beautiful. I don't need to do anything. Dynamics, the energy dynamics works like that. And I really, really love it. So the more I feel content, the more I feel correct, the more I follow my own convictions and I perfect my form and I'm very committed to my higher principles, the more I do this, the more love I get from the outside. And what the magic about the G Center is that we can't separate direction from love. I used to think that these two crosses are different. We have the cross of the Sphinx that shows direction and the cross of the Vessel of Love that shows love. But these two crosses, these two themes of the G Center can't be separated. Because when you love someone or something, it takes you to the different direction. And when you are on a certain direction, you meet certain people and then you love them. And it's so obvious to me now. I mean, in the last year, I've done so many behavioral changes in order to perfect my form. So I did some radical changes in my nutrition, and yes, I meet different people because of that. It's exactly as Ra usually gives this example, but this is so true. I mean, when you don't go to restaurants anymore and you don't sit and eat meat or whatever, you meet different people. When I go to buy my vegetables and fruit in this organic place where they grow everything. So I meet different people there than I met 2 years ago when I went to restaurants with friends. Yes, it's so different, and everything is. And again, if I meet someone and he's away and I travel to meet him, my direction changes. So that's life, and you can't separate this. And the bottom line of all this is that we don't need to have the 10th gate in order to follow our convictions, perfect our form, and be committed to higher principles. This is the meaning of living our design. This is living our design, because whenever we are committed, yes, to our strategy, we surrender to this strategy of our type, and we follow the inner gravity that the GPS gives us, our inner authority that is totally connected to our driver. I mean, this decision-making process is actually our driver. It doesn't matter where it sits in the body. So if we are there, then self-love must emerge, and love being in the world must emerge, because there's no other way to love being in the world and love ourselves. Only if we are true to ourselves, if we are authentic, if we are living who we are. And it's so beautiful. And when we live who we are on the trajectory that is our personal exact geometry, and we meet the people we need to meet, and we go to places that we need to go, and that's all. It's just not what maybe not what we thought about, not what we planned, not what we wished. You know, we have this ego that has these ideas, mental ego, yes, ideas about life. It's just different movie, but it's our movie. It's our personal geometry, and how Ra says, and only now when I'm speaking with you now, I get it. He talks about mythology, and now I get it. Wow, this is a realization. You see it online happening. That yes, we have our own mythology, and if we don't surrender to who we are, we will never know it. Wow. So as a birthday present, I got this amazing realization that I'm always, always, always in the right place, in the right time, and that nothing needs to happen differently unless I'm not correct, yes? But if I'm correct, then everything that happens is so accurate. So I love it. I love being in this world, and I love myself in this world, and I'm very happy that I live as myself, because on the way I know that this contribution that I bring this way or another just comes out of me, and it was not a plan. It was just this self-empowerment that comes from this 10th gate that can only empower others if it is self-empowering. So what I need to do as this second line hermit is really doing my own thing in my little hermitage and empower myself, and then some other people can benefit from this, and I like this. I like living in the world this way. So this is also my birthday present to you, because we are born every day, so I'm giving you also a birthday present. The 15th gate is also a very interesting gate, the gate of the extreme, modesty. the quality of behavior which expresses the proper balance between extremes. Now here also I have strong realization about this too, because I'm a very radical person. I always was, and I do live in these extremes. It's part of my cross, and I've got the second line, and it is in detriment. So my influence is very radical, and this is the way I influence, which works great for me. But what I've noticed, I never really understood this line, the quality of behavior which expresses the proper balance between extremes, because I was always in one extreme or the other. And what happens to me during the last year, I feel that these extremes display themselves completely different. It's something in me, but it doesn't have to be so extreme in the outside. And it's just a frequency. And I really do feel the balance. I feel much more balanced than before. I mean, before there was no balance. The not self-extremist has no balance. It's like really moving from one extreme to the other. And with this experiment and this Chiron flourishing and everything, I can really feel the balance. It's not about I'm not compromising. It's not this. I never compromise. I'm radical and I'm very sharp in my direction, what I need to do and in the way I need to do it. But I can't really put it in words, but I invite you to start looking at yourself. If you have this gate, what is the meaning of this inner balance that comes between the extremes? So it's about the flow, of course. It's part of the channel of rhythm. Another very interesting thing about this gate is that the 15th gate is the gate of the aura. And people that carry this gate have a very big aura. And this explained a lot of things when I heard it first many years ago, because I'm really very, very sensitive, and I'm sleeping by myself since day one in this experiment. And I need a very large space between me and another person if somebody else sleeps in the same house. And it's more than others. And until I knew it about the 15th gate, I didn't understand. I thought, what's going on here? Is it because I'm a projector? But no, I think it's because this huge aura that people who have this gate really need to take this in consideration about sleeping. This aura of the 15th gate is very magnetizing. It's pulling everything in it. It's like, in a penta, in a group, it's the place, it's the energy that magnetizes the group together. Of course, it's not personal. When we are in a penta, this energy is used to that. It's not that we do it. But I can feel this too since I started looking at it. So let's see how are we going to feel as transits these two gates this week. The first line of the 10th gate is modesty, but but here we called it introspection, because you know that the 10th gate, the gate of the behavior of the self, is actually what conditioned the 6 archetypes of the profiles. It's a role gate, and the first line we know is the investigator that needs to look for the strongest foundation it can find in order to follow their own convictions and perfect their form and find the correct forgot the word principles. Then this line needs to investigate, and that's what this line does. It's an introspection line, and every first line in our design and in the transits. And for example, the last year when I did the rave new year, the majority of the lines were 1-3. It was like a year of a 1-3 profile, and I felt it so strongly. And the minute I saw it a year ago, I said, okay, so even if I have things that I see further that have to develop, they will not develop this year unless I build the strong foundation. And this exactly what happened. It was a year of foundation. We needed this introspection. We needed to build our foundations for the next year. And in a month from now, we are going to see what the new year brings with us to us. So this is about the introspection, and this is the beginning of our neutrino week. And then also we are going to experience in the 20th, we're going to experience the moon in the 6th gate, the gate of friction, the gate of conflict. And because of the tribal emotional ego global conditioning pattern, we are going to feel the 6 too, you know, the intimacy, yes or no to intimacy. And then, this is the exact moment of my solar return this year, the 20th, in 23:21:06 GMT. I'm going to begin my new solar cycle, and also the moon will enter the 46th gate, which is another gate of the vessel of love, love of the body. So there's a lot of love in the body graph in the transits of my birthday. We can see that there is the 55th gate is the love of love, that to be in love with love. Yes, this is Mars. And we have the 40th gate, the love of work for the family or for the tribe. And we have the love of the body, the love of humanity, and self-love. This is really beautiful to celebrate this way my birthday. And of course the Hermit, you know, the natural, the one that everybody project on, that they can do everything, and and all these inner natural talents and natural traits are projected outside, and he's sitting in his own room and doing their own thing, you know, they do their own thing, and they are and they are called out, and they need to be very discerning about who calls them out and for what. So this is the Hermit day. Then the moon, you know, after gate 46, which is truly in the G center, but every gate that comes afterwards in the quarter of duality, these are the 7 gates of the spleen center. So because we have the global conditioning pattern of the sun with Jupiter that gives us the perfected form, then now every gate of the spleen will be felt very strongly because it is all defined in the whole picture. So we will have, in order to perfect our form, we will need to see what's need to be corrected. So the 18th gate will do its job. And then when we get to the Martyr, the 3rd line day, you know, the Martyr, the trial and error, the bonds made and broken, the one that learns all the time what doesn't work. Then when it learns what doesn't work, the moon will provide practical solutions from the well. And of course, this pessimist, the Martyr, will see that most of them don't work. The Opportunist will accompany the channel of transformation. We are going to have the gate of duration in the moon, and together with the Marian Maiden, they are going to form the channel of transformation that will continue to rise up to the perfected form. So the Opportunist will wait for the right opportunity to rise up and transform. In the 23rd, the gate of values is going to be, the moon is going to enter the gate of the values. So this will be an enhancement for the tribal energy that we have. Yes, the channel of community and the 26th gate, they are very tribal, and also the 50th gate will accompany them. And then the Heretic, the Heretic will struggle. The channel of struggle is going to be created from the combination of the moon and Mercury. And the struggle will be about perfecting our form in the extremes and selling things and trying to sell things in the marketplace and having bargains, and all this with the fickleness and moodiness of the 55th gate. A lot of happening, a lot of celebration and changes and actions. I'm just thinking about all those people who are open in the ego, open in the G, or, open. And all these global conditioning patterns are very, very strong. We can't avoid feeling them. The next moon gate will be the 44th gate, and then we have the whole channel of surrender, which makes a single definition out of all this. And of course, we see Venus entered the gate of rejection, the gate of revolution. So we are going to have a very, very tribal activation from this gate of revolution, the gate of divorce, through the channel of community, through the channel of surrender, and the perfected form. So yes, the community should surrender to the individual and perfect their form. And then the last day, in Christmas, and next time we'll talk a little bit about Jesus, but Jesus' birthday. But this is the role model, and the role model can be really a role model by acting, behaving. Yes, we're talking about the gate of the behavior of the self. So they can really behave as a role model, but they can also be the hypocrite that tells you to behave in a way but wouldn't behave so themselves. So this is interesting to watch what's going to happen in a 6-line day. And also, the moon is going to enter the gate of the creative expression and have this resonance with the very individual perfected form channel, and of course with the 38 and the 55th, that all of them are very individual. But if you haven't noticed in this body graph what's going on, so you can see that the channel of community has disappeared, the nodes are changing, guys, and instead of this sticky bargain that we can't take it anymore, and I could see it everywhere, the not self world just embraced this bargain channel. But now we're going to have about half a year of moody sexuality as an environment, as the nodal environment. And the nodes, that the nodes go the other direction on the wheel, so we always begin a new nodal configuration with the 6 lines. So we are going to have the one night stand and selfishness. These two very unique lines are going to, we're going to embrace them, and they're going to embrace us. And of course, if we talk about half a year of the 59th gate, so please, ladies and gentlemen, please remember your strategy and authority, because this gate leaves sometimes tracks that can't be erased. I'm going to feel the 55th gate connecting to my 39. So yeah, moodiness, creativity, romance, music, sometimes emotional eating. I hope this doesn't come. So this selfishness, this individual selfishness, brings us back to the 10th gate and to self-love. And yes, in order to love oneself, we need to be selfish. We need to think about ourselves first. And, Ra has this amazing phrase, enlightened selfishness. So this is it. The journey that we go through is a journey of selfishness, and it brings it can create this self-love, this love being in the world by being this enlightened selfish creature. And that's what this journey takes us. It doesn't matter which gates we have, which type we are, it doesn't matter. Just look at yourself first, think about yourself first, behave as yourself, by using our amazing imaginary Holy Trinity. Yes, we are in Christmas. Holy Trinity: strategy, inner authority, or decision-making process, and sleeping alone. And the world will be very magical, even if we look at the papers. I don't, but it helps me, by the way, to love being in the world and not reading the newspaper. Self-love to you, and love being in our world, and see you soon.